Zyla, I'm going to tell you a story about your papa. Rabbit's Tail. Some facts may be smaller than they appear. Now, Rabbit was a mighty man. Yes, sir. He was born on a special Sunday night where the moon was so big and bright you could see his heart. It was the size of that of a full-grown man. All of his life, he would work to fill his heart by loving people. Some people wonder how they know when their baby is ready to come. But Rabbit's mama felt his heart beating so loud, she knew exactly when it was time. On September 14th, 1952, James D. and Francis J. Lloyd Holmes welcomed the birth of their son. They named him Sylvester Lee Holmes. Admiring their new bundle of joy's big ears and huge heart, they called him Rabbit. And it stuck. Rabbit had 7 siblings: James Jr., Laverne, Mickey, Melvin, Ann, Gloria Dean, Ellis, Glenn, and Michael. They lived at 330 Walker Street, right around the way from Juniper Gardens in Kansas City, Kansas. Although he was the 3rd youngest, Rabbit's mama knew right from the start he was something else. He started telling jokes before he was a month old, caught a fish and cooked it before he learned to crawl, and drew his first picture as soon as he learned to sit up on his own. Yup, the whole family was expecting great things of little Rabbit. As soon as he was able, he headed out on his own to prove them right. Rabbit was baptized at Mount Pleasant Missionary Baptist Church, where his grandfather, Reverend J. E. Lloyd, was the pastor. He graduated from Southeast High School in 1970. While Rabbit enjoyed playing the drums at church, he really excelled at art and sport. That's right, Rabbit was one heck of a baseball player. The rumor is he beat out Frank White for a Kansas City Royals roster spot, but declined their offer in order to get his education at Lincoln University in Jefferson City, Missouri. During his time at Lincoln, he became a leader on campus as a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, Alpha Psi Chapter. He would go on to graduate summa cum laude with a bachelor's degree in art education in 1974. When he left Jefferson City, he brought with him the collective knowledge, skills, hopes, and dreams of the historically Black college and university experience. Not only that, he brought back a beautiful woman, Tonya Brown of Kansas City, whom he'd known since middle school. They were married on August 24th, 1974. Rabbit and Tonya had 3 children: Summer, Autumn, Audie, and Sylvester II, Lil Sil. Lil Sil was supposed to be named Winter, but Rabbit said he wanted to save him from a lifetime of bullying. That's just the type of guy Rabbit was. Just before he settled in Kansas City, he was offered what some say was a 6-figure pharmaceutical sales job in Chicago. But he turned it down in favor of his passion to teach art and philosophy at Northeast and Southeast High School. When asked why he turned down all that money to teach high school kids, he explained, "I had a friend once and he died." As usual, Rabbit made the best of it. He made extra cash by drawing comics for the Kansas City Star and from playing the occasional poker game. In his spare time, Rabbit became a prolific outdoorsman. He often went hunting and fishing with his family and friends. Some of his greatest hunting trophies were Bambi, Bigfoot, and his father-in-law's hunting dog. And before you say you've never seen a Bigfoot in your life, just know that it's probably because Rabbit killed it and the skin is still hanging wherever he put it. Rabbit was also a master bowler. He'd upset his bowling league opponents by bowling 6 turkeys in one night with the tightest curveball you've ever seen. If you'd ask him, "How do you get your bowling ball to curve like that?" he would just fake a twirl of a mustache and say, "Skill, my dear. Just skill." Anyway, one day while Rabbit was hopping around the city playing amateur baseball and drawing comics, he happened to meet a Catholic priest. Right away, the priest recognized his heart, which was only 1/4 full at the time, and told him that he should do something more with his talents. He suggested that he use his artistic skills and love for people to do something that would make Kansas City beautiful. So he bid farewell to drawing comics and went to work at the Black Economic Union, BEU, where he thought he'd just be helping to sketch out a few projects, but soon realized he had a different vision and wanted to transform neighborhoods. As soon as he learned the ropes, Rabbit began to develop his gift of leadership. This led him to accept a position as the executive director at Blue Hills Homes Association, before ultimately going back to BEU as president. As president, Rabbit became a skilled communicator, conductor, coordinator, and negotiator. Rabbit could persuade a rose to stop smelling beautiful, an ice cube to go tanning, and a burning coal to take a chill pill. He set his sights on his new passion, to bring the historic 18th and Vine District back to life. He started crunching numbers, drawing concepts on the backs of napkins, wheeling and dealing in closed room meetings, trying to convince the cast of players they all played for the same team. It took pounding on tables, kicking chairs, and horse trading, but ultimately he was able to forge partnerships that eventually allowed the construction of the National Historic 18th and Vine District. His deep passion and knowledge of the arts led him to organize the annual Kansas City Jazz and Blues Festival, bringing local and big-named acts to come jam in the streets. Under his leadership, the world-famous Negro Leagues Baseball Museum, the American Jazz Museum, and the Black Archives of Mid-America had permanent buildings, helping to transform 18th and Vine into an attractive destination for Kansas City tourism. But he believed that a community could not live by arts alone. Oh no, he knew it also took jobs, affordable housing, and businesses that created entrepreneurial opportunities to make a community whole. Not only was 18th and Vine transformed, but also parts of Linwood and Main Streets and Mill Street in Westport. And don't forget about Renaissance, Benton Boulevard, Brooklyn Avenue, Martin Luther King Village, Count Basie Court Apartments. You could go on and on. Yep, Rabbit sure did realize his passion to make this city a beautiful place to live. It was around this time that Rabbit and Tonya decided to just be friends. Sometime later, he met a pretty gal from Philadelphia named Rhonda Bigelow, whom he'd met at a conference in Washington, D.C. They were married on August 29, 1991. Rabbit and Rhonda stayed together many years and then became friends as well. Well, after all those years of urban development under his belt, good old Rabbit wanted to try out his entrepreneurial skills and make something of his own. He drew a logo on the back of a napkin and envisioned marrying gas pumps with fast food. This led him to build and open his own gas station called the Millennium Superstop on Truman Road and Cleveland Avenue. You've probably seen it. It's the one attached to a Wendy's. It did so well that he opened up another one on 12th Street by Kemper Arena. Boy, was he on a roll. He even started a rock quarry business and an apparel company. Now, you know he could tell a few tales himself and was definitely a good actor. Why, you can see him on Hallmark cards, TV commercials, and print ads, smiling and dancing. Rabbit's talents didn't stop with acting. He was also a gifted writer. He wrote songs, TV shows, movie scripts, and even children's books. Eventually, Rabbit decided to try selling automobiles at Olathe Dodge Chrysler Jeep. Well, he tried and succeeded. He easily sold 1,000 cars a month and became the 2016 Olathe Dodge Salesman of the Year. And if you let them tell it, he even saved the entire city of Olathe from a fire-breathing dragon, all while wearing a bow tie. By this time, people all around the world had already started calling him Big Chief. But if you asked him how he came by that name, it's guaranteed he would say he couldn't tell you because it'd be too dangerous. In addition to all of his accomplishments, Rabbit was the best cook in the world. He'd cook food so good that you'd need to say a prayer twice. One for the food and another for him to cook some more. Nothing made him happier than cooking for his family. He tried to teach them his ways, but they always needed his help. Every Sunday, they would have Sunday dinners like you've never seen before. Together, he and his children would cook dishes like peach cobbler, butter garlic rice, fried chicken, pound cake, smoked salmon, baby back ribs, tortilla soup, mac and cheese, chitlins, and that ham. Woo, it was legendary. The best part is everyone was always welcome to attend. There was only one problem. Rabbit's food was so good that he had to threaten to call the police just for people to leave. You'd hear him yell out, "Security!" After all, Rabbit's real reason for cooking all that food on Sunday was so that he could spoil his greatest loves, his children and grandchildren. That's right, Rabbit loved his kids and grandkids more than anyone in the world. They say he filled 90% of his big old heart by showing them unconditional love every day, especially his grandchildren. He had 5 of them. He loved drawing with Keon, cooking with Evely, wrestling with Meyer, chasing Leora, and tickling Zyla. But most of all, he enjoyed sitting back with all of his family and watching a good Western movie. Just when everyone was ready to go to sleep, he'd say, "Put in another one." Unless, of course, there was a Royals or Chiefs game on. Then, movie time was over. Wow! Rabbit lived a heck of a life filled with loving others, and they loved him back even more. In the end, however, Rabbit only had a little room left in his heart, and God had already claimed that part. So on March 13th, 2017, God called him up to the cabin in the sky so he could experience Rabbit's love face to face. Now, don't you be crying over Rabbit. Tears are for beanheads and dinkle dorks. He'd tell you that anytime you start to miss him, just look up in the sky at the full moon and know his heart is still as big and bright as it ever was, and it's because he still loves us all. Prologue, for this is not the end of the story. It is the beginning of the next part, one that Rabbit's loved ones will live out.